We'll call together this meeting of the Planning Commission for Tuesday, July 16th, 2019. And we'll start with a call to order and Pledge of Allegiance. So let's all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll move on to the second item on the agenda, the roll call.
Roll call. Chair Piotrowski.
Here.
Vice Chair Kopus.
Here.
Secretary Hammond.
Present.
Board Member Hulieza. Board Member Cantor.
Here.
Board Member Stansberry. And Board Member Thompson.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Okay. Thank
I'd
you.
make a motion to excuse Chair People Leza and Stansbury from the meeting tonight.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? And motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is the approval of the agenda. If everyone's had a chance to review and there are no comments or adjustments to be made, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Okay, hearing none. Motion passes. So we'll move on to approval of the meeting minutes for the regular meeting of June 18th, 2019. Everyone's had a chance to review or wants to take a minute and see if there are any corrections or...
Mr. Chair, on page 3, under the legal update, I think Mr. Baker, at the end of the sentence, said was applying for the sewer backup to cover the city's cost for cleanup.
Yeah, I saw that missing C as well, so it's just a little typo.
Oh, okay.
If there's nothing else other than that small correction, or spelling correction rather, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Hearing none. We approve the meeting minutes for June 18th. So we'll move on to the public comment for items that are not listed on the agenda. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak. Seeing none, we'll move on to new business, which is the site plan review for 27047 and 27051 Southfield Road. This has been the really the majority of our packet.
Good evening. So in front of you should have a site plan and a review letter for it's essentially an approval for a change of use at these two addresses. They were formerly George's Soccer and the Tailor Shop over there. They are proposed to be reoccupied with a massage therapy spa at 27047 Southfield Road, and a professional office is proposed at 27051 Southfield Road. A lot of the dimensional requirements, it's an existing building, so those are all compliant, as legal nonconformity is related to setback. If you look at the bottom of page 2, we do go over the parking. It wasn't clear. It looks like from their site plan that approximately 6 spaces are located either on or entirely within city right-of-way. So we just wanted to make sure that the applicant had permission to use that. We weren't sure if it went with the property So they need to make sure that they have permission to use those spaces, and continue to use them to meet their parking requirement. And then the only other comment we had was just ensuring that the pedestrian connection, how the sidewalk kind of jogs up near the building, that area is currently, between the sidewalk and the road, is currently paved and is being used, was being used for parking. So we just wanted to make sure that pedestrians were still able to pass through that, and that people weren't pulling up with their bumpers over the sidewalk. So we recommended either a no parking sign or bumper blocks, but that might have to be worked out with the city as well, since it is city property. So those were really the only concerns we had.
Okay, I've got one question to start with regard to the bumper blocks. That would be something that the city would have to authorize, or
I'm
how does
not
that?
100%.
It's an unusual site in that it has been, I think, there for a while, that parking. We weren't able to find any of the records that indicated approval by the city. But given that it's a change of use and there is an upgrade to, I'm assuming at least the interior, that there be some updates made to the exterior as well, and that would be in terms of the bumper blocks. I think that is likely something that the city is able to authorize. The question always has come, and it's come up several times as we've talked recently about licensing of those city alleys, whether they're vacated or licensed. I think it's likely either way is fine, but we don't show any record of that. So that's one of the things that we're trying to get a little bit of an upgrade to, at least ensuring some pedestrian access through that area. We also noted that some of the landscaping, I think, could be refreshed, and that's really in the applicant's best interest also, if they're trying to create a new desirable business, that they want to make sure the outside looks as good as well. We thought they would be here this evening to maybe answer some of those questions, but obviously they're not. So.
Okay. I noticed one of the other aspects regarding the appearance of the site is the collection of transformer boxes and things adjacent to the parking that's in the right of way, and not clear whether those are in any way, I guess, the public utility or in the public realm, or if those serve these buildings, which I assume that they might have that. And I guess the question of how they ended up in the right of way, and is that something that would have been expected as opposed to, I guess, maybe be positioned somewhere else on the property. Not that it's something we necessarily have the ability to, or maybe to control at this point, unless something more substantial is considered.
Yeah, most of them are phone, AT&T.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be nice, you mentioned in there possibility of screening them. That would definitely be nice, because there are three different areas that are on that spot that have utility access.
Right. So it's not normally something that the Planning Commission would see necessarily, a change of use from a similar use to a similar use. But in this case, because there's no site plan on record, I'm sure that at least, the building to the south of it, there are plans for that because that was more recent, but that little building was built a long time ago. So pre-existing our records.
Right. So do we have the ability to put conditions on it, make it
Sure,
conditions
yes,
like we normally do?
related to the site.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'd like to propose a couple. I'm very familiar with that property. And actually you can see it on one of the pictures in here. Sorry, I only have one
Is
here.
it one of those?
Yeah, so the bottom picture down here on the lower right hand side, so this picture. There's two spots that would in a normal property would be landscaped, that in this property for the past 20 years has just been a weed garden. And I've had many discussions with the old owner, and they gave lip service and never did anything. So You can kind of see here that in this picture, just what you can see of it, it's all covered with weeds. Last year or 2 years ago, they put down a 1/4 inch of mulch, which is mostly spread out and gone and now weeded on one of those 2 pads. So I mean, I think one stipulation, and I've talked to the applicant, and he said he and his wife are definitely interested in landscaping that, but I'd like to make it a condition because it's been an eyesore for a long time, along with weeds coming up at the cracks in the parking lot, on that portion of the parking lot. In front of those transformer boxes right now, they're probably 1.5 to 2 feet tall, and that's been a long ongoing problem. And again, the applicant has said that he plans on taking care of all that, but I think it should be part of the approval process, or part of the stipulations that we put on it.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And I mean, to your point, Jill, it's to the applicant's benefit to have their property looking nice. So I'm sure that they would be at least considerate of that. Yeah.
And I would go further and suggest, as was recommended or as was suggested by the city planners, Giffords-Webster, that the area with all the boxes receive some treatment as well. Not sure what restrictions there might be regarding for access to the equipment, but as it sits right now, that area is appears to be as ragged looking as the adjacent peninsula that Commissioner Camp referenced.
There's 2 utility boxes on the west side and one on the on the west side and one on the east side. I got a picture I can pass. Yeah, you can see it here. Just pass it down. Yeah, I would think at least the 2 on the west side. The one on the east side is smaller and near a telephone pole. But the other 2 are
Right.
somewhat substantial.
Some of the challenges there, I think, are the fact that the telephone pole is there and it has the guy wires, which it's just a really cluttered corner of the site, and that's probably the primary location where, at least along the side there, where landscaping could be introduced. So I think we'd like to see a plan for that, what might be possible for that, and whether that requires any sort of input from Giffords-Webster as far as clearance.
I think we would want to look at that and then just make sure that it's consistent and appropriate with whatever the utilities are. Providers.
I'm just looking here at the landscaping, the Rosa Sharons along the base of the building, which appear to be manicured, but
Yeah, they're not
once
bad.
again, if they're not encroaching on the sidewalk,
They're not.
then, and they're maintained in such a
Yeah.
manner, then that's probably less of a concern.
Yeah, they have done in the past. They've done a very good job of maintaining those bushes.
Any input from the applicants as far as signage and what they propose to do? I saw references made to the agreement between the previous, the easement agreement between the previous tenants, and I was kind of wondering about the status of that and what legal, it sounded like that stays in place until they decide those 2 new, I don't know if it goes to the landlord or if it's the landlord owns both. Were these 2 properties that were separate but one ownership before, and it was between the tenants that they made this arrangement, or?
That I'm
You're
not-
talking about the easement agreement?
Yes.
No, that was between the 2 separate property owners. So, and this easement runs with the property, so it'll continue, but it just pertains to signage and then allowing the larger parcel to park and the smaller parcels parking.
Okay, so for my clarity, we're talking about the larger building, the newer building, and the adjacent, the 1-story building, or the 1-story building that's really the subject of.
Correct.
Okay.
They were, I guess their benefit to this agreement was they could put their signage on the south side, and then the reciprocal benefit to the southern building was that they could park in the 4 spaces that really that they have to offer. Because as Jill alluded to, that should be something that should be included as a condition. Those other 6 parcels that are at least partially in the city alley, the city-owned alley, they should be required to apply for an encroachment license in order to utilize those parking spaces as parking spaces, for those to count towards their minimum required number of spaces.
Okay, so we're talking about, there's the 4 spaces to the north of the building, which are in the right-of-way, and then there are what considered behind it, all the spaces, the 2 that are in the right-of-way.
Right.
But also in the alley, as well as the 4 spaces adjacent, right directly behind the building,
Well,
or to the west.
the ones that are in, what I'm referencing are the ones that, again, the photos on the bottom here.
Okay.
Would be the western side of the parking lot, adjacent to,
Yeah, that are partially in the alley.
And
Yeah, these
that-
over
the ones
here.
that are in the street right away, we can't, that's Oakland County's right away. We can't give permission on behalf of Oakland County to, plus with the potential redevelopment of Southfield Road, they can't rely upon those parking spaces being up there.
So the 4 parking spots in the back that are in the alley, that partially overlap the alley, the part of the alley they overlap is the part that's closest to the hedges, furthest away from the building,
Correct.
right? Okay.
Okay.
And that's true for pretty much all the spaces.
Well, it is
Right.
true for all
Including the
spaces.
ones
It is true
for
at the
Yeah.
adjacent
the
property
southern
as well.
building, yeah.
They've been granted it in the past somehow, or the city has allowed it to
Well,
occur.
I think the city, I don't know, granted is not the appropriate term, because
Yeah.
there is no, there are other cases where the city in the past has granted these encroachment licenses to other businesses throughout the city. This block there's nothing recorded, there's nothing in any of the archives that I have that go back 20 years for our representation of the city, and then nothing that the city's been able to uncover in their record. So it's presumably it's just been done, and the city's never enforced it or
So,
required it. But,
so the permission for that is with city council?
yeah, so
and
there's,
so we
there's
would-
a
we would-
application process. You can make it contingent, the site plan approval will be, again, the conditions, make it contingent upon them successfully obtaining that encroachment license.
Okay.
And then any other, the landscaping, anything else that you would like to put on there.
Right, and that's been my question all along, and I still have not gone to the Registrar of Deeds to verify that, because the strip of land there has had major improvements done upon it, electrical, lighting, sprinkler, trees, but, we have no record of whether or not that was ever vacated to them to do that. And I think that's what you were just talking about.
Yeah, there's no indication they've had permission to do that. So
Yeah.
That's what, and again, that's recently council adopted standards for encroachment license, and then an application process to kind of correct some of these. It's anticipated this isn't the only one in the city.
Right.
And so
But this would be,
the timing of this is appropriate, because
Right.
like Jill said, there is no approved site plan. So normally something like this, a change of use would be administratively done, and it wouldn't come before the planning.
so this would be the appropriate time to get the records in order
Right.
and make an official, make these encroachments either, recognized by the city and official.
Yeah. Because there are insurance requirements that they're required to carry if someone were to be injured on the city property. I mean, that being used as a parking lot, then we would want to make sure that the city's indemnified for that, so.
Yeah, and I'd also want to see conditions on there that they maintain it, because
Absolutely.
I can tell you it's completely unmaintained right now. I know the guy who maintains it. This guy.
He's got one arm.
Yeah, so.
So, and he's not getting any rebates from the city or the property
Exactly,
owner.
exactly.
Okay. Are there any other
Well, just-
thoughts or comments?
Mr. Chair, it says here they need 7 spaces between the 2 uses. And if they get the encroachment license for the 4 spaces on the alley, they'd have 8 spaces. Correct? 4 and 4?
just for the alley. That's the way I'd
I
read
think there's
it.
actually 6 in
There's
the alley.
6 in the
Right,
alley.
Jill?
Yeah, there's 2, and there's 4 that actually, that their property line crosses. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh.
Well, it says 6 on Sunnybrook and 4
I thought the
in the
4
alley.
on the side of the building, I thought that was the Sunnybrook right away up to the
It's
edge of the
not. Yeah.
building.
Yeah.
But I was just informed that that is actually Oakland County's right away.
Right.
So that's part of Oakland County's right away, those 4 spaces. The 2 spaces that are, where there's that arrow where it says 6, accounting for 6. Are those also in the Oakland County right away? They don't appear to be.
No,
'cause
those are in the
sidewalk
alley.
staggers, so they get captured by the alley.
Yeah, and then their other 4 are closest to the building.
Right.
And then the other 4 are closest to the building, but there are the 4 behind it. So I'm reading here, if I understand this correctly, 4 directly behind the building, 4 across the alley, 2 that are adjacent to that, but north of the property line.
And 4 in the right, and the 4 building going right away.
Right, and 4 in the Oakland County right away. So a total of 6 that are in the alley. Assuming that the ones behind the building, directly behind the building, are not considered part of the alley, they're part of the property. Yeah. That makes sense. So I guess the point comes back to if we permit the ones in the alley, they still have up to 10 spaces here.
Yeah, it was just, they need to make sure that they have permission to use those to meet their parking requirement.
You know, I guess far be it from us to like try to reduce parking, but if there were an opportunity to enhance the landscape, that would be something that could be considered.
Removing the parking that's in the Sunnybrook right of way?
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
And I guess I wonder if down the road, so to speak, with Southfield Road improvements later, if that might be used in the future. So we may not want to actually remove that.
See, that's
parking.
my hesitancy, knowing that we have that
Right.
issue overall in terms of, although it, arguable, are these 4 spaces needed here if the rest of the lot is compliant, then they're serving.
True.
Yeah,
So in the report from Giffords-Webster, there was a reference to potentially making the Sunnybrook side parking, no parking, actually marking it as a no parking zone.
And if, in that case, that would be on, whether it's the city's right of way or whether it's the county right of way, that would be the municipal action rather than the private property owner, because it's not their property.
Yeah, so that would be a recommendation I imagine the planning commission would make to city council to go through whatever process is required
Same
to determine that, or note that parking area is not a parking area.
Right, but does anybody see a reason why we shouldn't allow them to park there? I mean, I don't see a
No, I
reason.
think really the question was over the bumper blocks.
Right, I mean, I would like to see that, I would like to see them.
That's what sort of drove the conversation to that, is
Well,
they said, well, they weren't.
Yeah.
The reason I said this, because I don't think you received it, but I actually did an initial review on this. The applicant received it, and they marked it up responding to my
Yeah.
comments. And they said, well, we're not going to use that for parking, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I bet you
So
they
that was
will.
my response, was to say.
Well, they will.
well,
I mean, I just
if-
know the way that the
yeah,
building
if
is used,
you're-
and people are gonna
I
park
said-
there.
well,
Yeah,
and I
people will
was-
park there.
Yeah.
My response was, well, then you should mark it no parking if that's
Right.
the case, or it should just be make sure that the sidewalk doesn't get blocked.
Yeah.
That was the main concern, was pedestrian
And
connection.
you know how I feel about bumper.
You know how I feel about bumper blocks too, so I'm surprised Scott's not laughing at me already, but.
No, I'm
But,
actually
We
looking
do-
at it right now,
Yeah.
an aerial. And I know I said earlier that that would be Oakland County's right away, but
I think that's
if any, a
ours.
very
That's
small portion of it might
Right,
be.
I think most of it is the city's.
I think it probably is the city's right away.
Because the sidewalk's right there.
It doesn't have, there's 160-foot right away from Southfield, the center line of Southfield Road. That might encompass half of that building
Yeah.
if it's, but it's just not on the,
Right.
I don't see where it's on.
Oh, good Lord.
well, yeah,
Not on the site plan.
that's
Yeah.
hard to discern. I assumed it was like the sidewalk line or where the property
Property
line's
line would be-
right at the right of way.
Right.
essentially. So the building
You'd be
is
surprised sometimes.
3 feet. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So then you're saying that that one parking space is actually in the county?
Maybe one, or
One.
a portion of one, but yeah, I
Yeah.
think the rest of it would be Sunnybrook. Again,
Yeah.
part of it might be in
Right.
Sunnybrook, part of it be on the property.
Do we want to have a strong feeling on the, on that parking in that location and leaving it versus?
It seems like to me it's okay to leave it there. I think it is a good idea to
Yeah. I'm all for
separate
it.
the sidewalk from the parking area with bumpers. But it also, the applicant should be aware that that Southfield Road improvement project may potentially take away some or all of that.
Yeah, they may require it to be, just as a hindrance in proximity to the road
might
and traffic backing up just because of its position.
Right.
But
But I don't see any reason to prevent them from being
No.
used for the time being.
At this point, I don't either, frankly, so I'm not inclined to make that a condition. See, it looks like they're proposing to update the lighting underneath the soffits. I'm happy to see that the lighting is underneath the soffits. You're not having spillover into your yard through the landscaping that's in back, or?
Yeah, I think those were there. I don't think they were adding them. Were they?
Well, I think they're there, but I think he was going to replace them.
Yeah, I see
Okay.
the LED fixture, and I
Yeah.
thought, okay, the building's
Yeah.
been there a while, and those don't look like LED fixtures.
Right.
So if the fixture they propose is a flat lens and not,
Yeah, that's what he
Yeah.
told me, he was replacing it with a flat lens.
okay, all right.
You want a motion?
Yeah, we can entertain
All
a
right.
motion and possible conditions here, or if we want to, the only caveat I'd say is if we want to see the landscaping, or a sense of the landscaping other than to just say improve the landscaping. Is that something the commission would want to hold up?
It's a small area. I mean, I think just improving it to a reasonable standard as opposed to, having to see a landscape plan. I mean, you're talking,
assess that.
you're talking 10 feet by 4 feet and
Right.
probably 6 feet by 2 feet or 3 feet,
Yeah.
so.
If the city engineers and planners can.
Define reasonable.
Well, assist with what's considered reasonable for that
Yeah.
portion and what improves the appearance of
Yeah.
the site and deals with the technical issues of the equipment that's on it. That would be probably sufficient, so.
Yeah. All right, well,
Okay with
I'll
that.
make a motion
Well,
to.
real quick, before you make that motion, there's reference here to waste, and the applicant indicated that they intend to just use garbage bags stored inside the facility to be taken out on trash day, which is fine, but we've seen issues with other businesses along the corridor where they have either taken out garbage several days before trash day, or it's just been left in bags and not in a garbage can or a receptacle. So I'd like to see a condition to at least have them use garbage cans, some sort of a receptacle to store the garbage in.
Well, they are required, the ordinance
Yeah.
has been amended, it requires that they have to be in sort of a.
Okay. As long as that's in the ordinance and they're in compliance with it, then that's
And
fine.
this portion of the village has their pickup for, is the commercial on a separate, or is this
Same
part of the
schedule.
residential schedule? So
schedule.
this is on a Monday morning? And the businesses are in operation? I'm thinking of that logistic of who's going to be there on the Sunday evening at 6 o'clock, not before 6
Right,
o'clock.
but the reality is it doesn't usually get picked up until the afternoon. It's usually mid-afternoon on Sunnybrook, so.
Well, they
Okay.
get there Monday morning. they're
Right,
ready to go.
right, that's
So-
what's been going on with the building to the south of them. They put it out Monday morning, and it gets
Okay.
taken, and then they take their cans back
Just
3 days
just trying to
later.
assess whether there's a hardship that's going to create a situation that you're
Yeah.
just suggesting trying to avoid, which is a can sitting out, a couple of days in advance. Small item,
Yeah.
but on a fairly small agenda, we probably,
Right, I was gonna say, but can we
Beat
even,
it to
can we
death.
put that in the condition even though, I mean, because it's an ordinance.
They just comply
so
with the ordinance.
They just have to comply with the ordinance, so
And
it's,
that's, they're required to comply with all.
anyways, right, yeah, so it doesn't need to be in there.
and this is kind of an exception to being required to have their own outside dumpster and location? Or is that definitively written, or is this just
Just something that we noted, that we wanted to make sure they accommodated that.
that they manage it in a manner that's appropriate
That looked nice,
to
yeah.
the city? So,
Yeah, if they're not
okay.
going to get an external receptacle, then they just store their garbage cans inside the
Correct.
trash day and
Okay.
comply with the ordinance. It's fine.
Well, that's,
Okay.
I think that hits it.
All right, well, then I will make a motion to approve the use with the following conditions. Bumper blocks are placed on the sidewalk on the north side of the building. That adequate screening is placed on the utility boxes on the west side of the north portion.
Northwest side.
Yeah, northwest side of the building. That weeds are controlled in both the parking lot and the public alleyway. And that the, for lack of a better word, pads on both sides of the sidewalks on the north end are maintained in a normal with a normal landscape.
It's like island peninsulas.
Yeah, island
or-
peninsulas, yeah,
Parking peninsulas, yes.
Are maintained with reasonable landscape.
That's second.
Wait,
There were a couple other?
couple
there?
others. You
Comments?
guys also, they need the right-of-way encroachment license.
Oh, and
Oh, yeah.
The-
and upon securing a license for use of the right-of-way. Was there another one? I thought I wrote them on.
Maintain the existing shrubs along the building.
Yeah,
Yes.
and maintain the
And-
existing landscaping.
And I also had compliance with the waste removal ordinances of the city, which everybody has to
Right.
comply with anyway, but it doesn't hurt to say it.
Right.
Right.
They're aware of it.
This is pretty important.
The trash
Yeah.
is putting out and taking into the trash is compliant with existing ordinance.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a second, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes to approve the site plan with on the basis of the items that were identified and getting approval on the continuance of the parking in the right-of-way. Move on to the next item. Is there any old business that's not listed here that anybody would like to discuss? Okay. General communication correspondence, legal update?
Nothing for me tonight.
Okay. DDA staff update?
I have a couple things. So, in case you have not all seen your emails yet, our master plan kickoff is going to be on Monday, August 5th, from 5:30 to 7, downstairs in the community room. So, bring your creative thinking hats, because Jill and Matt are going to have some fun visioning exercises for us. So, so that'll be on the 5th from 5:30 to 7. We'll have dinner for you guys, and we're going to try and keep it to that hour and a half, right? So we're going to be very
Well,
focused.
I will be away, so.
Wandering the
it
Great
will
North.
be-
Yes.
Yes, wandering the Great North.
So, but there was also, we had tentatively had scheduled a joint meeting for the end of this month at July 30th, but that is done. There will be no joint meeting on July 30th. So no worries on that one. Also, there is going to be a staff meet and greet on Thursday, August 1st from 4:30 to 6:30. So, bring a few friends, meet everybody that works here, so we can meet more people. It'll be great. And then last but not least, the DDA is having an informational meeting, lunch and learn on Friday, August 9th at 12 noon I'll be sending out links and letters and promoting all kinds of stuff with it. So this is one of the new requirements from Public Act 57 from last year. That kind of recodified some of the DDA requirements and taxing authority requirements. So we now have to do 2 informational meetings a year, and so this is going to be our first one. It is open to the public. I encourage you to come and hear what our projects and programs are going to be for this year. Main Street, Oakland County is going to come and provide us with a little mini Main Street 101, so should be a good day.
And is the DDA event, is that in place of the DDA meeting?
Yes, that will be in place of the DDA meeting. So their next regularly scheduled board meeting will be September 13th, I think it is.
A question about the master planning kickoff.
Yes.
It's always beneficial to review the master plan, but is there anything that you guys are planning in these brainstorming exercises that would require like recent familiarity with the existing master plan?
Bring your perspective on the city. It would be good if you take a look through, but it's not required reading.
Okay.
Who's all coming?
Everybody except Mark.
Oh, council
and
and
DDA
DDA.
has also been invited.
Sorry that
so-
you're not
No,
going to be
that's
there.
all right. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm missing all these events because I'm gone from the 1st through the 21st, so I'll miss the next regular
Shoot,
meeting
and I
as
won't
well.
even see you
Wow.
up in the UP because I'm going up on the 23rd.
No,
So,
because we'll be on the other side of the lake unless you want to shout across it.
I'll try. How's that? I'll try. I can be very loud. So, but that's all I have for now.
Council update?
Okay. A few things. Just wanted to invite everybody. We have a State of the City address along with a roads and storm ditch town hall coming up this Thursday at 6 p.m. Mayor Garrett will be doing a State of the City address, and then I'll do the last half of the hour doing an update on the potential ballot proposal that we'll have this November for roads and storm ditches. So I'll be announcing some details there, and we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. And then just kind of the other update has to do with the infrastructure committee. We've have our recommendation ready for council. It'll go to council on Thursday for the roads and the storm ditches. If council approves it on Thursday, then it will be on the ballot in November. We also last month put a recommendation to council for sidewalks, and that was adopted by council. And what that said was that this summer we'll do a sidewalk improvement program for the business corridor, so for Southfield Road, 11 mile and 12 mile for those sidewalks. And then in the subsequent 4 summers, we'll tackle one quadrant of Lathrup each summer with a sidewalk improvement program. So the goal is in 5 years to have all the sidewalks level, crack-free, and back in shape, so people can actually use them. So, yeah, and that's it. So.
Okay, I got a question related to the roads and ditches. Maybe maybe it'll have to wait, but considering it's already been kind of,
What?
let's say, approved and recommended to.
Well, it's been
or-
the infrastructure committee unanimously voted in favor of it, and then it's on the agenda for the council meeting on the 22nd. And if council adopts it, then there's a resolution to put the millage language on the ballot.
Is this we had, I think, independent or privately discussed before, the concept of the ditches getting replaced with a new system that allows the surface to be
No, it'll be fixing the existing ditches.
fixing the existing.
Yeah, so
Okay.
ditches will be regraded. I don't want to get into too many details here since we really haven't announced it yet, but the culverts, defective culverts will be replaced. and cleaned.
Don't answer too many
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
Just raising it here, if people are watching, this is the opportunity as a teaser to get
exactly.
people to come and ask their
Exactly.
questions and about it. So,
You know you were so talented that
Yeah.
you can do little teasers out there now.
Yeah,
Very
so-
good.
So yeah, if you want to learn about it and learn what will be done and what the costs will be, show up on Thursday. And just, if you can't make it on Thursday, we are planning on a couple more town halls. We talked last night about having one in September and one in October. We're also planning on doing a door-to-door campaign with some leaflets and hopefully some information up on the website so that you can actually see what's going to happen when. So if you wanted to know, when's my street going to be done, you'll be able to go on the website and
well,
know. So-
and I'm sure people will want to know, this work and how it impacts. I know previously, in the past, Lathrup had programs where they planted trees in some of those areas, and those trees have grown and gotten large, and now if they have to work this, what does it mean for those trees? And that's, I think, a question that people may want to ask and understand how the program might affect that.
Yeah.
So,
Will Thursdays be telecast?
It will be recorded and telecast, yeah. So-
okay. If that's it. we-
Oh.
He jumped ahead, and I had you in the back of my mind as, okay.
Thank you. Some of this has already been touched on, but I have flyers to go with it, so I'll hand those out. As was mentioned, Mayor Garrett and the City Council has the State of the City address on this Thursday, July 18th, from 6 to 7 o'clock in the community room, and as well as the update on the road infrastructure proposal, so everyone is invited to that. We also have another road update from the League of Women Voters, Oakland area. They're partnering with the City of Lathrup Village. And next Thursday, the 25th, they'll have a panel discussion talking about funding for roads in general in Michigan. And Susie mentioned that we're having the city staff meet and greet. We have so many new faces, and we want everyone in the community to have an opportunity to come out and meet all of our staff. As well, we're going to have a free taco bar and DJ music, so it'll be a fun event. And I think there's going to be some kind of games that our intern is putting together, and like if you can guess which staff person likes purple socks or something, I don't know.
Oh, it's going to be
But
like...
it'll be a fun
I thought it would be
occasion.
Stump the Staff.
So that's going to be on Thursday. That's easy. Thursday, August 1st, from 4:30 to 6:30 in the pavilion, so everyone's welcome. And as you know, the summer concerts are going on, but we also have the Summer in the Village, and this year's theme is a Caribbean Fest. And we'll have Caribbean music, food, dancers. We're even planning on having an opportunity for the youth to make some of their own costumes so they could be a part of the parade that we'll have. So it's a lot of fun. So that'll be Saturday, September 14th from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. on the grounds here at City Hall. And that concludes my report.
Yeah, and just to make one distinction, thank you. Yeah, on the 18th, this coming Thursday, when we're talking about roads and storm ditches, that's going to be talking about residential and local. And then on the 25th, when the League of Women Voters is here, that's going to be a forum that's talking more about what they're doing at the state level in terms of plans for the major roads. So they are two different. They're both roads, but they're two different topics.
Right. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more thing I forgot. So on our agenda, we do have future training topics. So we did
Oh,
talk.
yes.
I think it was back in, I don't know, February. It's been a little while. We talked about having little mini training sessions on meetings that we don't necessarily anticipate action items, right? So,
Yes.
Next month, we're going to discuss public participation plans. I feel like it's very apropos for everything that's happening. So we're going to be kind of going through that. So stay tuned. And we'll have more throughout, moving forward. So if you've got a topic that you're dying to learn more about, please shoot me an email, give me a call, stop by my office, whatever, and just let me know, and I'll coordinate with Jill and Matt. We'll make sure we can get you some learning on that.
Okay.
And that is now officially everything I have.
Okay. Nothing else? We have a motion to adjourn.
So move?
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? Meeting's closed.
And the less important item of business.